The people can see you.
I want to block yourself. Sell your vote, you don't sell your future, but sell your birthright. How much by 4 years? How much with that? Don't sell your vote, oh. No matter the thing them they tell you, no matter how the thing they do you, no matter how much money them they give you, no sell your vote, oh. No need to fight, oh. Because your picking no go join you. They go, they won't corner, they laugh you. Oh, don't sell your photo. Yeah. Okay. If you look at the situation, everything harsh for this our nation. Poverty rising and inflation. Line still day for the fuel station. Things gotta change by determination. This election, no intimidation. Protect your selection, we gotta make sure everybody votes count for the future. For the future.
Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't let them take your vote from you. Now your future be that. Yeah. Now your future be that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Together we can make Nigeria better. Oh, yeah. One voice. We can make Nigeria better. Oh, yeah.
No sell your vote, oh. No sell your vote. No matter the thing them they tell you, decision made out. No matter how the thing they do you, no matter how much money them they give you, no sell your vote.
Okay, banya kairu. Hey, I beg you photo. Time don't come again, no. Them done they show their face, so no sell your right, oh. Now follow them fight, oh. Hey, it's over to you, so not yet speak up, yo. So ginger, don't let anybody spoil them for you. The power is in you, no sell ammo for money, no sell your boat, your right, your hoe, for fufu.
Ya kare duk wani tanadin ku sun shashare hankalin ku kar ya bace gaba tafi bayewa taimaki kanka taimaki kanki mi rayuwa da inganci.
No need to fight, oh. Because your picking no go join you. They go, they won't corner, they laugh you. Oh, don't sell your coat for your bag.
Mommy, daddy, CC, baby, don't make mistake today, we go spoil your tomorrow. Mommy, daddy, CC, baby, the time don't come again to go, so make we match. We go come to work together, we go decide our future.
Oh, no matter where you come from, we're part of a great nation, so everyone sing with me, yeah. From the hilltops of Obudu and Enugu, from the plateaus of Jos and Taraba, from the food baskets of Koko and Otubo, yeah, to the smiling, shining sun in Sokoto, we go photo. From Ondo to Jaba, we go photo. From Port Harcourt to Kaduna, yeah, so no one is left behind. Nigeria is yours and mine. Oh, yeah.
Ngema, Alonya put together. Ngema, Alogweja with each other. Ole mame. Votes are only with your PVC, man. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. We will vote. Hey, everybody. Hi. You are watching the women's stance, and we are running on or YouTube. We also running on different Facebook pages. We running on Split Talk, the Nine Generation. We running on viewer page. We are also running on my page, and we are running a YouTube channel. So my name is Grace. I am the president of Liberian Women Advocacy Network International, Lawani. I'm also the founder of Legacy Holding Foundation, and we are here today to speak on how women will feel about everything that's going on in Liberia concerning the election, especially the presidential election, since we are in the election season. I'll give other panelists chance to introduce themselves. You want to share the video, brace yourself because we're coming on hard tonight. The news are too many. We have to give that information to you guys. And I will always encourage you that don't sell your vote, because if you sell your vote, you have sold your future. Go ahead, guys.
Good evening. My name is Vera Eddie, and I am the Vice President for Liberian Women Advocacy Network International. Greetings to the audience. We say thank you for coming this evening to listen to us. Thank you for tuning in. Please feel free to interact with us on the platform.
Good evening, our audience. My name is Veronica George Edwards, and I am the CEO for Ronnie's Cleaning Services. He's located here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're here today to talk about the issues that is facing our country. So sit back and enjoy the ride.
Thank you, guys. So if you're on here watching with us, you can make your comments. There will come a time we will have a phone-in conference, that you can call and also give us your input. You can, interact with also your comment for now. So, we are in the election season, right? And although everybody talking about politics, but there are a lot of other things that are going on in Liberia that the people are not paying attention to. And so tonight, before we even go into the politics about this whole elections and how we as women on this platform, what stands towards it, we will talk about a little bit more. We'll talk a little bit on what happened at the clinic of, they say, Women of Hope Clinic in Liberia, where a woman lost her life
Wow.
because of a map practice by maybe the doctors, and hearing from the family explanation. We want you to listen a little bit in before we come on to talk about this thing, because the clinic is owned by the present health minister, Mistress Minister Wilhelmina Jala. She operates her own clinic while she is serving in the government as well, which is kind of a little
Okay.
bit conflict of interest to me. But Liberia, the people don't follow the laws. But then the part where people are going to that clinic and getting and dying from childbirth in this day and age, people do die from childbirth around the world, but this is a minor situation nowadays, that the world has gotten so advanced that people should not be dying from childbirth anymore. The people got so many ways to deliver people, and they got so many gears in the hospital to detect things that are happening to you and stuff. For people to still be dying from childbirth by a lot of numbers in Liberia, it concerns us, and that's the reason why we want to talk about it. And the people are playing with people's lives in our country. You go to the clinic, you give your whole self to the people, because when you in that state, like, you have to trust the doctor. And for you to trust the doctor, and then this happen, and family member just die like that, and no kind of any care or nothing, no investigation, it kind of concerning to us. But before the panelists come in, I would like to share the screen with them. Then the man, there's a guy who explaining about his wife, and then the mother-in-law guy will bring the video in for a little bit, and then you will hear the mother-in-law, because women know how to explain it. Oma explain the nitty-gritty of what happened. So listen to it, my people. Before we get into the election season and what's going on, we have to talk about this, because at the same time, we are women. Number one, number two, we two of us here represent an organization that fight for women issues and stuff like that. So listen to this. Oh Lord, this is just so sad. I tell you, oof, it's sad though. Uh,
also interview with a family here in Congotan. Uh, your name, sir?
My name is Benedict Ukraine First. I'm the husband of the late Muna Wule Okran who died at the Hope for Women facility.
Tell us what led to your the death of your wife.
I think it was some misstep carried on by the doctor and the midwife at the facility.
So there was some publication made in the Korean newspaper by Dr. Wilmina Jala. Do you care to speak to what she said
Oh
in
yeah,
the?
yes, I'm here to speak about to that. I think the health minister were in error and this is unfair to the family of all what she said. I'm gonna make a disclaimer on all what she said. The first thing first, my
Okay.
wife for taking
So he
treatment
said that he will make a
at Hope
disclaimer on
for
what she
Women
said,
in
and
GFK.
I will push a video to his
She
mother
was going there
speaking.
simultaneously.
So just
This day
hold
she
on
will
one
go to
minute.
GFK. This day she will go to say to take.
That Okukwa did not carry much money. So before my
Up to then, she had not called yet.
So we are going to your
Our,
mother-in-law
yes,
to.
our family cannot be grieving. Then the administration of the health be coming up with lies. If they don't have anything to say, we appeal to them. They will not talk about our disease. They should go rest in peace.
mm,
Thank you.
All right. All right. She is the mother of the late Muna. Uh, from the day Muna went to Hope of Women, the mother of Muna, she was present, and everything that happened there took place in her presence. Mom, your name?
Anikete Bino.
Tell us what happened at Hope of Women when your daughter went there.
Thank you very much. Before my daughter demise, she went to GFK. I first asked her because my daughter was very close to me. She used to tell me everything about herself. So I asked her, after what they pregnant, they say, where are you taking treatment? She said, I'm taking treatment to JFK and Hope for Me. I said, well, why you did not go back to that mobile clinic where you born your last child 2016? She said she went there and that the mother was not there, and so she didn't feel good to go back there. When she went to JFK told her that she was 40 weeks pregnant. According to what she told me, 41 weeks. But then the JFK doctor that Ukwa told her that she has the time has already reached, but then she was not getting in labor. So he went there for her to go there in order for him to induce labor. When she went there, she was at the hospital. She called me. She said, "Ma, yeah, well, doctor say I should wait." So, but I need some money to buy some medicine. The doctor said I should buy because she did not carry much money. So she sent her little sister to me at the office. I gave her little sister $20 and then when they bought the medicine. But then, according to her, while she was at JFK, what she saw was horrible. She said she saw three pregnant women on one bed. She saw a lady sitting down in a chair, taking drip and get labor in a deliver in a chair. So she called a friend. She said, "Man, the situation at JFK is not easy. But since I already taking treatment of both Hope of Me and JFK, let me go to Hope of Me because I have been going there." When she went to Hope for Women checked her and said she was 38 weeks. Then she came, she told me, she said, "Man, look there, that Okukwa made mistake because he said at 40 weeks, but Hope for Women told me that 38 weeks." Then I told her, I said, "Muna, can you believe? May where we put our doctor's report." She said, "But ma, if I was 40 weeks, I was going to get EP. But for the fact I haven't gotten EP means that what Hope of Women said is true."
That's how she took interest in going to hope of me. She went there, she did her ultrasounds. The same man, Nora. They, she went there with her little sister and they treated her, they checked her, and they told her that she was 38 weeks. 1 week after that Thursday, she went back. Man, Nora still told her that she was 38 weeks. She told me, I said, but how can man Nora tell you that week before the line you were 38 weeks? You go back again today, she said you're 38 weeks. I said, Mona, you gotta be careful. I said, you gotta be careful. Yeah. That the same night she and her husband went home, and by 12, they called me and said, Mama, I'm on my way to the hospital. 12 midnight. I said, you're on your way to the hospital? She said, yeah. So I got up, I started getting ready. When they called around 5 times again, she called me. I said, okay, I'm here. But when they got here, they did not pass. I expected them to have stopped with JFK and call me, or even stop here to pick me up for us to go. But they passed straight and went to Hope with me. So when I called, I said, where are you people? They said, we are already to Hope with me. I said, well, you all told me, and then I got up and I called ready everything for us to go. They said, we're already here. That's how I called ready and I followed by 5, before I think 4:30 to 5 a.m. I called them. When I called them, my daughter was hospital. My daughter was not in pain. I asked her, she said she's not in pain. I said, but why are you pain? She said she woke up and she saw blood. So she decided, she said, I want to play already far. And she decided to just come because I saw blood. But since I came, no pain. He sat down there. My Nora came to work around 8 to 9. Then she said, oh, are your late sister there? That is my last daughter now. I said, but they get is my student. She said, you gotta come. Let me open your lung. Because when you get in pain, we may not be able to find a thing. She opened the lung. She was even laughing. I said, Patricia, you scary, oh. When she opened the lung, she said she was flushing out. She opened the lung, she put something there, what they can put there to continue pushing drugs in it. She told my daughter to go and lay down. She lied down. She lied down, she slept until she was even snowing. When she woke up, I was like, Mona, you better sleep. But she said yes. When she woke up by 12, Mandora brought tablet. I said, before your tongue, put it on your tongue. Around 12 to 1, I said, put this tablet on your tongue. She put the tablet on her tongue. She lied down. By 4 o'clock, she started to feel small, small pain. So I said, okay, let me rush home and just eat something and come back. But I didn't know because of the United Party program, so the traffic, we still running the traffic that day. So as soon as we came, I told my daughter, I said, you carry the food in front of behind you. She carried the food, my daughter ate and everything. By 6:30, my daughter called me and said, Mama, thank God, Mona has given birth. I started dancing. I put on my clothes quickly and I started to go. On my way going, she said, Ma, where are you? I said, I'm on my way. So you got to come because they posted the name blood. I said, blood for what? She said, the people say they can't get the blood until you put money down. But thank God, I have the first $35 here to pay for the first pound. I said, pay for it, I come here, I'm breaking money. As soon as I got there, they call for the second pound, I pay. 5 minutes after, they call for the third pound, I pay. 5 minutes after, they call for the fourth pound, I pay. 5 minutes after, they call for the fifth pound, I pay. Then just in that time now, when I asked my daughter what really happened, she said, Mona gave birth, but she was bleeding. So because she was bleeding, and then the maid was trying to look for what was causing the bleeding, but she couldn't find it, that's how she called Dr. Patrick. It was Dr. Patrick who came and put oxygen over Mona and carried her in the OR, in the operation room. So that's how they say they want blood, and then we are being we pay for the first pound of blood. So after I paid for the 5 pound of blood, they were just in and out. Former say man lacking the former say he go in. They running behind him. So when the foreman say making, I say, you man, oh, the people are working. Somebody is in the theater and it's an emergency and you are lacking the pharmacy and you are going and you know the people will be taking drugs from the pharmacy. Pharmacy man say he got to go because the place he living, the place is dangerous. So I beg you, I say, I beg you. Even if you are living in Banga, I will carry you. Please stay until they finish with my daughter. I beg you. That's how he sat down. Patrick came Osa by 8. You came out in the operation room by 6:30. He came Osa by 8. He called my son-in-law. He said, you know, then he went away. I heard it. I went there. I said, you know what? I shouted. I said, what do we know? So he said, oh, Mama, calm down. Calm down. You know what I want to say is that the care, in order to stop the bleeding, and I'm asking for the husband so that he will sign so we can extract the uterus. I said, my daughter born 3. This one is the 4th child. She didn't even want to born again. This child, the pregnancy came by mistake. For last child is 6 years. I said, so the husband is not here, but I'm here. If that one will save my daughter, I have son, go and extract the uterus. Dr. Patrick go inside. Dr. Patrick can come outside again. And so I started putting 1 plus 1 together. I said, look, man, maybe something happened. That way he came to tell us. And because of the way he saw my reaction, so he lied and said, we should sign so that you take all the uterus. And they were just going in and coming out. And when I asked them what happened, they keep telling me the doctors are working. Dr. Patrick called the first doctor. Dr. Patrick called the second doctor. At last, now I saw one boy and a girl that they called the king with bag on their back. Then I started getting afraid. Then when I spy, I saw the other woman, the other male wife. I think it is a Nyama woman that delivered my daughter. She was sitting down there, relaxed in the old arrow. Then when the other girl came also, I said, you say these people are working. But I see somebody sitting down, relaxed, and they are discussing. Oh my, they poor working. They hish. They could not come also. We sat down. We sat down. We sat down. We sat down. It was almost 12 o'clock when they called my son-in-law. Then my daughter followed. To go and see my daughter lying down in a pool of blood. They get on the stretcher. The whole plate on the stretcher, that blood. That blood. That blood. Just like when you kill cow. And as soon as they gave us the news, we were crying and rolling and rolling and rolling. They went and sat down, they started to watch TV. Dr. Patrick went in your office and sat down and relaxed. After we cry. My son-in-law said, let's go and go see Dr. Patrick. I'm going to Dr. Patrick office. I met all the nurses sitting down watching show. I'm going to Dr. Patrick office. Dr. Patrick sitting down, relax. Then I told him, I said, you killed my daughter and you get the guts to come and sit down in your office as if to say nothing happened. I said, this is your wife and children on the wall here. I said, well, woe unto you. I said, what you have done to my daughter. I said, you shall receive triple. And I will not lie. I said, with me a whole hospital, you are cursed for life. I said, you don't be kidding. My daughter's blood will be the last blood. It is very bitter. I went to all of them that were lying to me one by one. And I started to curse them. I said, you are cursed. You that were lying to me, you came outside, you took out the PPE, you drop it. I said, what happened? He said, because you're sweating. Because all of you knew now that my daughter had died. I said, so you are cursed. Then when we came, when we put one plus one together, my daughter said, but Mama, my Nora is the one that caused the bleeding. And Dr. Patrick is the one that killed my sister. Said because she said, and you were there when my Nora brought a tablet and put it on a Munaton to induce pain. I said, yes. She said by 4, when my Nora checked the girl, she was 4 cm. Instead of her waiting for the girl to give breath, she went and brought another tablet and put it on her tongue.
For the second time.
For the second time. It was at that point, about 6, the baby started fighting and the baby jumped all over womb. And whatever damage there, they could not control it. That's what happened. Then instead of Wilhelmina Jana, you being woman, yeah, you are minister in health and you have children. Even this kind of news get to you, you will not contact the family. Then you go straight on the air, you go defend. Defend what you don't know. Then we started getting news now that they are counted things together to go investigate. And when they went there now, they compromised. They started saying that my daughter got 8-month-old baby. In fact, she had done so normal abortion and I put pressure on the uterus and all manner of things. So we just want to clarify what that all. When the minute Jana told the public is false and misleading, and she's evil, and she will get her pay. I don't care how long it takes. It will be not Jana and the entire crew that were on ship at Women of Hope. If they don't get their pay, then the God that are serving, he's a false God.
Okay. I guess you guys have seen the video. This is what happened at the Women for Hope clinic. Vera, I would like you to come in. You are on mute. I would like you to come in concerning this matter. Then Veronica George can come in.
I think it's called Hope for Women.
Hope for Women. Okay.
Hope for Women. Yeah, I saw it. I saw the video when the story initially came out, and I listened to it. And it's such a sad story, though. You know, it's so depressing. And the thing is that it's not the first incident of death of Hope for Women. In fact, I learned today that they were shut down before. They've been shut down before for malpractice. I don't know by hope or by crook they got back, into operation. I guess because she is the minister of health, so she was able to straighten up whatever it is that had been shut down, and she started operating again, which is sad though, because if you have had so many malpractices at your facility and it continues, I don't know why that facility is still operational. And I was talking to our nurse. She's an RN in Liberia, and I called her this morning. And I said, "Did you hear about the incident at Hope for Women?" And she said, "Yes, I did," because she herself is a midwife. She's an RN, but she's a midwife. And she said, "Yeah, I heard about it, and it's so sad, though." So I said, "But the way the mother explained the story, and it said that the nurse that was on duty when it put pill under the girl tongue, so to induce labor. What is that? What do you guys do in Liberia?" And she said to me, "Oh, the pill that they put underneath the tongue is called cytotype." But she said, "But it's not to induce labor." She said most of the time, the children on the street, they use it for criminal abortion. So I said, "Really?" So I said, "But then why somebody would take it to induce labor?" She said, "Oh, yes, so in Liberia, yeah, some midwives and some people who call themselves nurses, they do that because they feel that if you're not, if your labor is delayed and you're in too much pain and you're over like a certain amount of hours, instead of them letting you to go through the process of the pain to, for your cervix to start opening, some of them, what they do, they will put it under your tongue." She said, "But the people who do it, some people are professional at doing it, even though they're not supposed to do it, but you can only put one under the person's tongue, because it's what it does is that it destroys the inside, almost like if you wanted to do an abortion, it goes in and it destroys everything in there, and you start to bleed, and everything comes out." But she said those who use it for criminal abortion, most of the time when they do it and they're bleeding and they go to the hospital or when they go to the clinics, they got drugs there to stop the bleeding. They will usually put them on drip. They will usually clean them up, or they will stop the bleeding where they have the drugs that stop the bleeding because they bleed profusely. So I said, "But what somebody would do that?" She said, "Oh, yes, that's what they do here." And a lot of people are dying. She said some of them insert it vaginally, and some of them will put it under your tongue to cause a stir in the uterus, to disturb the child, for the child to be active and start to make its way out. but they are not supposed to do it. She said it's called cytotype. I think cytotype. I tried to look it up online, and it's giving me all kind of science thing about species and stuff like that.
But the thing
They
is,
have a generic name. She gave me the other generic name for it that starts with an M, but I forgot it. I will get back to her and get it. But she says it's a pill that is used to commit criminal abortion, basically.
okay, the thing is that it's so sad that you see that mother explaining it. The husband first came to explain how the daughter, his wife, Patricia, I think they call her Muna, how her life was just taken because of medical malfunction and medical carelessness. Carelessness. Medical carelessness. You don't play with people's lives like that. Even in other countries, in the country that we live in, the people fight to save lives. And you go and get a woman that kind of pill. The woman already her months of pregnancy, the doctors then even couldn't get it right in this day and age when the people can just look at calendar and get your pregnancy, how far you are in your pregnancy. Why is it Liberia is so behind? Because they are not training the nurses and they are not training the doctors accordingly. They just put people's lives in the people's hands that just go and sit and watch the doctor once or twice. They claim themselves that they are doctors, and before you look, they're attending to patients. It is so sad. Liberia had one of the best hospitals in West Africa at point in time. People used to leave different West African countries and African countries to come to Liberia. But the woman to even say that she left JFK because Veronica, you got to come in on this one. She left JFK hospital because when she went there, she was taking treatment there, and she was taking treatment, at the Hope for Women clinic. So she left JFK that time. She was in. She thought she was in labor because she saw some bleeding. She left JFK and went to Women for Hope clinic, Hope for Women clinic. And she said what she saw in the delivery ward in JFK, it scared the hell out of her. People women were sharing beds. The other woman was there. She delivered in the chair. I just can't think on my mind. I don't even know if I could ever have children in our country because in America, when we have kids here, we are in suites. That's right there. We are in our own suites. I never even saw any woman in a delivery room. I was having my kid because I was in my own space. It take a lot for even me to have a child, so they have to put me in my own space. And I never like share a room and see another woman crying. I enter the delivery ward. Everybody is in their own rooms. So I still cannot fathom how these people are just taking lives for granted and people are dying. And they got this kind of medicine on the market. And the government has not even getting rid of that kind of medicine on the market. They got people using it in the hospital. This is scary. You can come in for Nika, George.
Well, as you say, I can't phantom on a cry of a mother that is in so much pain, losing her daughter just for simple. This is what we talk about: the conflict of interest with the healthcare minister, Wilhelmina Jala, as her name is. That's we're talking about healthcare corruption. Those are corruption, and this is the corruption that we keep talking about in the government, and it is due to the lack of poor healthcare system. Number one, number two, weak the poor leadership and administration, lack of training for nurses. Who knows? Those people are just they probably didn't even go to the nursing school. A lot of them they might have gone to the nursing, but nowadays in Liberia, you pay for your school. You pay to pass. You're not paying to get the proper or the adequate training. So we're talking about things that we already know. And then if you don't have contact in the government, you don't have contacts. If that was somebody like Opon girlfriend or one of these ministers' girlfriend going to hospital to deliver, they would have paid attention to her. But she's just a mere citizen. She's nothing. So who's gonna pay attention to them? It just pains my heart to see those kind of things, and simple things like you can go to the hospital, even if you had complications here in America, you had complications, they will still work through you to see you through. But in Africa, there's another thing that you have to pay a certain amount of money before you get treated. If you don't pay that money, and I see that happening in Africa a whole, not just Liberia. If
But
you
Liberia is even worse. But the part where if you are going to come in, but the part where the woman's daughter had died and they knew the woman's daughter was dead. The part where they came outside and look at the woman, some people took out the PPE and showing the other side. Then later on, when they finally were able to tell the woman, when the woman went in the place, they were sitting there watching TV, like nothing had happened. In advanced world where you have a good government and a system, when somebody lose their family member in the hospital, those things don't happen. The people got to comfort you at that point in time because you are going through trauma. You need to be counseled and all the kind of things. And they just left the people there to cry and they were watching TV and watching the movie like, that there was nothing important at that particular time. I don't know how you feel about that. Let's welcome me a little bit, Vero.
But the thing about it is that a lot of people are not nurses in Liberia, just like Veronica said. Some of them haven't gone through the nursing program. Some of them have just practiced things outside of the nursing field, and they feel like they are nurses and they are working in these places. But a minister like Dr. Wilhelmina Chala, I would think that if she has a facility running, even though it's a conflict of interest, a facility that have been shut down before, because every time you turn around, someone is dying there. I would think that she will be able to hire competent people to come and work there. You call a place Hope for Women, and every time they turn around, a woman is dying. Every day, some woman is dying there. How is it Hope for Women?
so sad.
These people are not competent. How are you a nurse? And part of being a nurse is to have compassion, is to have empathy, is to have care, is to love the patient. And a patient dies, and you just sit there and go watch television. I mean, it's so cold. You have no feelings in you. These people are like rock. They and Pisota, all of them are the same. They have no feelings for the people of Liberia. How do you call yourself a medical doctor? You call yourself a registered nurse. You call yourself a midwife. You call yourself a whole minister of health for the whole country of Liberia. And you can't even hire competent people, and the people you got there are just byway people who never went through the program, people who just claim to be this. That particular drug, and I'm gonna hurry it. My sister said she's gonna send me a picture of it. I was online. She said she wanted to send it to me. I told her no. So she will send it to me, and I will send it to you and Ferro so you can see. She said it is used for criminal abortion. For some reason, the midwives think that it is okay to give it to you to disturb the baby for the baby to be able to push so you can go into labor. And it is wrong. And nobody is doing about it. Dr. Wilhelmina Jala needs to be investigated. The facility needs to be shut down. The family needs to sue her. They need to get a lawyer. They need to sue her for the fact that the woman's daughter died. You even come to the facility. You even call the family to inquire what happened. You take yourself, you go on air and start making up all kind of story against somebody who just lost their young child. That alone is a violation of it. If I were the family person, or if I knew them, or I was attached to them, I would tell them to get a lawyer and sue the whole con with Mina Jala in the clinic and have it shut down.
Medical
All
malpractice.
right, so I wanted to ask Veronica Judge before we close this particular topic. I would say to Benedict Okran, may your wife soul rest in peace, and we are in sympathy. We are sympathizing with you and your mother-in-law, and what happened to Patricia. It was murdered. They killed her because they should have known better not to do whatsoever they did. This clinic has been running for a minute now. This woman is the health minister, so she's supposed to even know better. By right, by law of Liberia, she's not supposed to even have a clinic while running in that position at the same time. I don't think it's right. I don't know what the laws are in Liberia, but they need to look into this, and that's the reason why these people need to open their eyes, because Liberia is at a crossroad in this election. It's a do or die. And y'all go put president in the seat again, and they can't even investigate these kind of things. It would be very, very bad. But Vera, I wanted to ask you to come in on what do you think that the minister was the one that even started to tell the people how the woman had too many abortions? You know how many women are had abortions in the place when they can take at least 20 abortions under their belt. They still go and have children. Nothing that happened to them. Are you kidding me? The woman lost her daughter, the man lost his wife, and you are on the radio or whatsoever saying that the woman had abortion, and that's why she had an 8-month baby, so her womb was weaker. Oh, how you feel about that, Pharaoh, as a woman?
Look, I am mad as hell because if you call yourself Dr. Wilhelmina Jala, I don't know where you took your training, but if you call yourself a minister and you already know you have your clinic has a lot of medical malpractices that is going on and negligence that is going on in that clinic, you know surely well to just sit and hush up. Don't say nothing or go to the family. You should have come on air and talk to the family and tell the family, oh, I'm so sorry for your lost one. And we are here vouching for you. And one question I wanted to ask. So right now, what is the gender ministry doing? Because that's woman. That's a woman. Again, what are they doing? Are they going out there to march or to plead for that, to plead on behalf of that woman?
Are they going to advocate? Are they because they're supposed to advocate against what has happened?
Let's see what happens. Let's see what they are going to do. So, Grace, I mean, the whole administration, the whole George Weah administration is just corrupt. I said it and I'm saying it again. The corruption is at a high rise in Liberia. So the healthcare ministry, the finance ministry, everything, there's not one ministry or minister you look at and you say, okay, he's clean, he's squeaking clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just read. Okay, let me just read Mr. Edwards' comment. He said, why everything about this African oldest nation called Liberia troubling? Murder, corruption, law and order, so on. Where are the leadership? New elections, Lord, please help your people. This is sad though. This is sad. The woman lost her dollar, the man lost his wealth on pure nonsense.
But Grace, can you imagine in healthcare, there is no confidentiality, nothing. You come on air and you say you're a minister of health and you're running a private facility and you come on air to divulge that kind of information, even if it were true. You come on air where the whole country can hear you on air and you divulge that kind of information to the public. Can you imagine? These people, I'm sorry, they're a bunch of country and uncivilized and uncouth people. Only people who are uncivilized will do those kind of things. How is it that you're a healthcare minister and you come on air and you say, oh, she had abortion, she had children, where's the confidence? Even if it were true, where's the confidentiality?
Yeah.
Where that alone, the breach of confidentiality, that alone people get sued for. Moreover, somebody try to die in the process and they're trying to make up the story. The person who's supposed to be the doctor sitting there and watching those nurses, they cold as ice, saying now they're watching TV. I don't know, because if I were me long time, like cleaning that point, I'm sorry. It would be burnt down.
Yeah, they need to sue.
Because I will wreak havoc on that clinic. There's somebody will have
to. They do not prioritize healthcare. That's the problem. They do not prioritize.
They don't even know healthcare, Pharaoh. They don't know what healthcare is. These people are just born. Grace and I, when we were on air, we talk about this thing. There are people who are imposters and perpetrators. They're all over the place. They don't know what they are doing. They are imposters. They are perpetrating careers they have no clue about. These people are all over Liberia killing people every day. Like I was telling you, when I talked to the nurse in Liberia, and she's a very good nurse. She says, Pharaoh, I mean, let me tell you the truth. She said a particular medication, women are dying every day from it, because what they do when you take it, it causes the uterus, when you give too much, that they say Nora get the first one, and she started to, go into labor. Nora went by and get the second one. She said the dose of it is like she overdosed on it. It causes your uterus to explode in you, and then that causes bleeding. So that's why she said all that bleeding, they said the blood were on there. They did not have the drug to stop the bleeding, because she said most people who do it, they will have the drug to stop the bleeding and try to stabilize you and put you on drip. But apparently, at the hope for women, they did not have it. So what happened? Everything exploded in her and blood were everywhere. And they didn't know what to do. And they just went silent as if to say she was a nobody.
Yeah, this topic is very very sad, and we will try to be reach out to the family members, but
Somebody need to sue them with them, Jala in the clinic.
Yeah,
yeah, we will try to reach
Need
out
to
to
sue
people.
them.
But the thing is that I don't understand why they're giving people medication to bring out fast labor. Because for me, when I go into labor, sometimes I be there for 12 to 24 hours. You cannot force as the child as the uterus dilate. This the how they call it, say the centimeters. Some people sooner go there they will deliver. Some people got it like that. Some people will take them up to 12 hours for that baby to come up. Some children when they come in, it take them 24 hours. All you have to do is just continue to make the mother feel comfortable until the baby can come out. So why are they rushing these people into labor with that kind of medication? It's just so sad. But we have to move on from this topic.
Because a quick money month, yeah, they have to clear you out of there. The next person
and,
got to come
and,
get space, so they want you out of there quickly.
and Grace, we're moving on from this topic, but this topic is very serious because the thing is, if you check that clinic, somebody send somebody there to investigate. It's probably Wilhelmina Jala. It's probably her family members that are working there because she paid them little or nothing because they need a job. And as we are all talking here, what kind of training have they gotten to go
Yeah.
over there and deliver a lady?
And it all boils down to how the people elect their leaders. You think if it was a good president in sitting down in that chair, or good government that running in Liberia, these kind of things will not happen because that medication, number one, it will not even be on the market. If it's on the market, it will be better control. You see here when we go to the pharmacy, the people don't got everything on the counter. Some medicine, most of the medicine you have to have prescription to get it. So, but we're moving on. Let's talk about the election. We are in the election season in Liberia. Liberia is at a crossroad. I always say that this time, Liberians have to get it right because too many people dying on foolishness. If not somebody shooting you, you die in the clinic. If not some kind of, I mean, it's just we're not seeing people death are not happening around the world. People will die every day. But the kind of way that people dying like their lives can be saved if the good governance is there for them. People will die, leader people die from natural causes or maybe if the car had accident or something. But for foolish way because the government are putting they're not implementing the laws and things that are supposed to happen in the country. The people just dying on fiasco, foolishness. So doing my research, I will talk a little bit about Dr. Muniba. Doing my research, I learned. If you guys don't know, Dr. Muniba, Clarence K. Muniba is in a race, and right now a lot of people are looking toward him because they were really liking his plans and vision for Liberia. At this point in time, he is the only candidate in the race that has a layout plan and a vision for Liberia. He has a website. You can go there and find that information up there, www.moneybar2023.com. And I was doing my research on Dr. Muniba, and I learned that Dr. Muniba has done over 200 community engagements in a year. 200 community engagement. This man has appeared on the radios almost 80 times. 80 plus times he appeared on the radio talking to the Liberian people. And then when I think about the other candidates in the race, I was like, damn, I don't even think any of these so-called popular candidates have ever done that kind of community engagement. I mean, interacting with the people, talking to them, and doing these things. So I was just wondering, I'm like, I don't know how Liberian people, the way in which they pick their leaders, because if you have a president or you have a presidential candidate that engages you all the time, your interest should be leading to that place because as he engages you and he tells you what he's going to do and accomplish in the country, when he's president, you can actually hold him to his word because you got video, you got recordings and everything that he said he would do these things. But you're running behind the people who ain't even got real basic plan for the country. I don't know if you can come in on that.
Well, Liberian people like people who are abusive to them. We said that last week. They embrace people who are not good for them because they themselves don't know their own value. They don't know their own worth. I mean, Dr. Maniba being all over the place, he has an engagement every other day. He has a radio engagement and in-person engagement, sometimes all throughout the day. That's all he's doing. And people, especially some young people, with all that he's doing and meeting them one-on-one, and talking to them over the radio. They're still saying that they're going to put in somebody who they don't hear anything for, somebody who they do not see on the campaign trail, someone who says nothing to them about their plans and visions for the future, for their future or for the future of Liberia. Someone who just sit there and think they're entitled to their votes. They feel that it's okay. They feel that it's okay for somebody not to say anything to them, and still they just give their vote to that person and think that the person is gonna do something for them. Liberian people they always want to have something happen to them before they regret and say, "Oh, if I had known." But like my grandmother always used to say, she said, if I had known, always come after the fact. It always comes last. The damage is already done, and you're saying, if I had known. But that's how Liberian people are. Oh, we didn't know he was going to be like this. Oh, we didn't know she was going to be like this. But in the beginning, when other people are warning you that this is how this person is, they say, oh, you attacking the person. Oh, you bad muffing the person. Oh, you jealous of the person. Oh, you want to be in a person position because you're not in a person position. That's why you talking to them. They don't, Liberian people don't pay attention to warnings. They don't believe in people warning them. They always believe that the people should treat them bad. The action should happen to them first. They should feel a pain first. Then they will come to the side and say, if I had known. And if I had known, have done nothing for them. But they continue to depend on if I had known. If I had known.
Yeah,
If I
where your
know you were like
people
this,
coming
I
in
will not
from?
be this. Why do they have to wait till the end? Dr. Moneyba is there. He's a fiber. I mean, he's a strong candidate. He's a young candidate like himself. He is educated. He is experienced. He's interacting with them. He's talking to them. He has done a lot of work in Liberia, and yet and still they say, oh, I don't know him. I never hear about him. You tell them to read about him. They don't want to read. And now some of the problems, what can they do? But at the end of the day, Dr. Monima is an option for them. He's on the scene. He's the best option. If they choose to reject him, Dr. Monima will not feel a pain. They don't want to be sitting by and say, oh, we didn't know Joseph Waka won't be like this. We thought a pape was good because our pape he had wisdom. We thought he was going to do something good for us. But the pape fail also will move all Ali Papa and we start looking for the other and pape. I mean, I'm tired with like put nonsense, man.
I say, but Pharaoh, the news out there is they're saying that the Moniba is going second to Alexander Cummings. Although we know it's a fake big lie news. But I want you to come on that because I know that the Moniba he is building his own foundation and he's running for the president of Liberia. He's not going to be under anyone at this particular time. But how you feel about that?
Well, it's Liberia again. We'll come back to say that's Liberia again. And this is what we experience in Liberia as Liberians all the time. Even in America, we experience those kind of things. There are fake news that will come out. People will say what they want to say about you because they have the addition. They call it the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. They're going to say whatever they want to say to make themselves feel good and make their candidate feel that he's on top of things and he's talking to everyone. There's and I know I believe there's been no communication between Dr. Manuba and Mr. Cummings on running as his running mate. And if you come to focus, look at the picture. You come and look at the picture. Dr. Manuba cannot go as Cummings running mate because Cummings plan and proposal he's put down for the Liberian people doesn't jibe with what Dr. Manuba has for his people. He has a new vision. He has a new way of life for Liberia. We're talking about a new Liberia. We're talking about we're inclusive with our young people in Liberia. And you're talking about somebody who is more inclined, has the energy to move around in the villages, not just sitting right there, moving all around in the villages to be able to talk to his people one-on-one. And you're talking about making him a running mate to someone who has not even come out to say what he can go out there in the interior and in those countryside and talk to his people and what he can help them to do. We're talking
We just talking because we Liberians just talk because they believe in their politics. That's all I know about that.
Yeah, but yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Sometimes they just want to run with news, and that's the reason why sometimes when you hear news on the social media, you have to make sure you do your your fact check before you come here and say anything, because most of the time they be lying. But I know that I've heard, from Dr. Maniba people that he will never be running with Cummings as a VP. So he has his own platform. So he is going to be running as a presidential candidate in this race. And we are in Boaca, they've been running for 20 years. Cummings has been running for 7 years. None of them have engaged over 200 communities in this time that they have been running in the presidential race, the different race, presidential race that they are running before this particular race. None of them have ever engaged communities like that the way he has engaged community. But I just wanted to say that I was thinking about something. I was like, if JMB with everything God, they say, oh, because he already working in the government, so he had all these things going on for him, so he don't need to interact with the people. That's what one of JMB person told me. The people already know the man. But if the people already know the man and they say he don't have to engage the community, I just think that if JMB had any information what he did during any administration, as far as we are concerned, let JMB tell us what he did, because as far as we're concerned, he told us that he was a parked car in a garage. So he needs to come up, and we don't want him to include everything concerning the entire administration. We want him to talk about what he personally did as a vice presidential vice president at that time for 12 years. Then before we can say, okay, these people, what they're talking, we understand. But all that talk about this and that and the other, we don't want to hear it. We want to hear his plans for Liberia. We want to hear what vision he has for the country. We want to hear how he's going to carry on that vision, how the timing that it will take for him to carry on that vision for the 6 years that he will be in power for. Which I really don't like this 6 year thing, because the door was so greedy for power. He went and passed a law for the term of the president to be 6 years, well, 4 years, which was already, because in 4 years we can always vote you up, but 6 years is a long enough for time. So and that's why I even wish that any president that come in power this round, they should change that president term to back to 4 years. It will just be fair for the Liberian people, because 6 years is too long. It's too long. Well, when you don't come in on that power, where Joseph Baga or say he was a park car, and all of a sudden now he's talking about all the accomplishment in Ellie Johnson said he government that he was part of it. So I'm confused with his statement, whether he was a park car or at the same time whether he was accomplishing. Nobody understand it.
Not yet. If people can say it hard to lie, so that you can be parked at the same time and we're accomplishing at the same time. And the thing about it is that now Joseph Boyka his people are trying to align him with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's accomplishment. When he was running in 2017, he never aligned himself with any of these accomplishments. And I wonder why. Because if he was part of it and he was instrumental in it, why, when he was running in 2017, he never aligned himself? Why he never told us all these things about, or told the Liberian people, because I was not paying attention to politics. Why he didn't explain to the Liberian people everything that was going on? Because at that point in time, Ellen Johnson was all the power. And all those things that were left behind that were put into place were already known. They were already put into place and were already turned over to the WIA government. So why didn't JMB at that time explain to the Liberian people like that, look, even though this government is going out and I'm still running, but the government I was in, this is what we did. This is what we have done. This is what we have in place now. This is what we turn over to whoever is going to win coming in 2017 for them to carry out. Why didn't he say it at that time? Why is he saying it now? It means that he was never part of the process, and like he said in his own words, he was a parked luxury vehicle. That's what he was. It means that he was totally hands off. He had nothing to do with nothing that was going on. When you are parked, you are parked. When you are parked, you are sitting still. It means that you are not moving. It means that you are not involved in anything. It means that you are not going nowhere. We all got here. We know what park means. It sit there until we go back, start it up, and put it in drive, and then it moves forward. And then on top of it, when Ellen Johnson left, I mean, the United Party act like as if to say there's some kind of united front. There's a split in the party because you remember they expelled Ellen Johnson and Sirleaf from the party. So when you expel Ellen Johnson Sirleaf from the party, you expel her with her successes and her failures. Everything went with her. You don't get the opportunity now to come say, "Oh, I'm going to go back and lash myself onto her successes." No, you don't get to do that. It is not yours. Because what was, if it was yours, if it was JMP, he would have said it ever since. He won't be saying it now. After Dr. Moneyba has come out and say everything that they put in place and everything that was sourced and everything that was secured and everything that was turned over to the WIA government, he put timelines to it, when this should have been done, when this should have been executed, what should have been done. We left this, we left that, we left this dollar, we left that dollar. All of a sudden now, everybody grabbing onto it, they know what was done. Whereas some of them don't even know other things that were done. They're just lashing out to what has been put in the public by Dr. Moneyba. Because my thing is, if the UP people knew all of these accomplishments, we should have been hearing a long time. We shouldn't be waiting for 2020, 2023 to hear. Joseph Boyka is a parker, like he said, and we still see the evidence of it. Right now, he's still parked. He's not talking to the Liberian poor. He feels entitled. He feels that the Liberian poor owe him because he's an older man. So he will sit parked to Ottawa thing. And those who feel that being parked is a good thing, you don't need to be in drive. You don't need to say nothing to them. You don't need to tell them anything. You don't need to explain no vision or anything to them. That's their business. They are the ones who want to feel the pain and suffering. I'm not going to feel it with them. But we are telling them Dr. Moneyma is there. Dr. Moneyma is the now generation. If you reject him, it means that you have rejected yourself and that you will suffer. Nanahi.
And your internet keep on going in and out.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's going in and out. So I would say that the labor laws spell out that the time for retirement, and it is the time for retirement is 65 years old. That's why the labor laws in Liberia say 65 years old is for time for retirement. Eh?
Grace, can I please put me in the back? I will change position so I'm getting off camera.
Okay, let me put you in the back. So the labor laws say, Pharaoh, the time for retirement, the labor laws say is 65 years old in any public service space in the Republic of Liberia. So please tell me, you Vero, can you please tell me why is it not, why JMB has not retired yet? Because if they say in any public space, it means that once you serve in public or space or you serve in the government, you're supposed to be retired at the age of 65. Why is it like when people say no, they cannot retire the mere fact that he wants to be president, they have to make him president by all costs. He has to serve before they let him go and carry Liberia by another 6 years, and he will even stay there for 6 years and destroy the children's future for another 6 years, take their own future and give it to their grandpa for another 6 years. Then before the country can maybe move on from there. Why you think that they are not going by the labor laws of Liberia?
Well, that I believe that the labor law is in effect, but you can retire at 65 and still go back to work. It's your choice. It's optional for you. So that's where JMB stands. It's optional for him, and he went back to work. But my thing is,
so you can retire in a certain
energy.
Let me ask you. You can retire in a certain position of higher heights and still go back and say you want to claim in that position or even higher than the position, because I know you can retire here, but you cannot go back to that particular position. Like my director in America, if she retired from her office, she cannot come back and say she's going to be director for the office and the people should allow her. She can go back and work in another capacity or in another position in the private sector, but not to come back in the public space and say you want to hold a higher position than what you have after you retire.
But you have to realize this is government leadership. Is not like the sectors that you work in. And take for example, we have Joe Biden. Joe Biden he retired, but he came back because he needed to liberate America
from the then regime of Donald Trump, because he saw how the country was going. So it does happen. And
Joe Biden did not retire, Frankie. Joe Biden did not retire. Joe Biden was the vice president of America. The term was over as for that particular term here, Barack Obama. And when the term was over, they had to get a presidency out for another group of people to take over. That's the reason why he came in to run as president, because his time was over. He never retired again. The labor laws of Liberia say when you are 65, you're supposed to retire. That's the law of the country. Although in Liberia, the people don't really go by the laws, because if they are going by the laws, what happened to the woman in the clinic, in women for hope for women clinic, was not going to happen. So if the law is saying that you have to retire at the age of 65 in a public space,
so you
that
just
serving in government, why are you going back?
So you just answer the question. The question you just answered it,
No, I
because
did not. You need to answer it
the
for me.
labor law says 65, but because there is no law and order in Liberia, they're still going to go through it. So you answer the question already.
Now what I'm saying is that what I wanted to even bring in to you was that although it says that, but they say the Chief Justice can be 75 years old and still be in a position before he retired. So if Joseph Baga was going as Chief Justice, he will still not be able to go. This man is he already 92.
But look at the Constitution. The same
How old is he again?
The same Constitution says, I don't know how is, I don't even know how it is, Joseph Boga, but the same Constitution says that you can vouch for the president's seat at the age of 35 and up. So it's in that Constitution.
But not after you retire, though. Is it after you retire?
I'm not sure if Joseph Boga retired. I'm not sure if
it's mandated that he has to retire at the age of 65. Anything after 65, you don't have to come and say, I'm having my retirement party, so I'm retiring. No, you automatically retire at the age of 65, Vero. So that's the thing. That's what I'm having problem with. How can the labor law says that? And we have to really go and do our research with this thing. How can the labor law say that this man is still running a race to be president for almost, he's been running for 20 years?
The Constitution is vague. The Constitution is vague because the Constitution also says that at the age of 35, with $25,000 worth of assets, you can run to be a candidate within the government. So
where you have not participated in the government as a high level, if you have not participated in the government in a high level ranking position. This man was in the government in a high level ranking position, and at the age of 65, he was supposed to retire. That's my question. How is it that he's still vouching for another position higher than the one that he was in at the age of 80 years old?
But Grace, that's his right to vouch for the presidential candidacy. So that's his right. If he decides that he's not ready to retire, and he was vice president for the past 12 years, and he decides that he wants to come back and vouch for the presidential candidacy, I think it's his right.
I don't think he has love for country. I think it's very unfair to the Liberian people and the Liberian children. It's unfair to their lives. You cannot already serve in government for 40 years, run an election for 20 years, because he was running in the election when Ellen was running, because he was vice presidential pick. So he been running election for 20 years, serving the government in the second highest position for 12 years, and then come by and say, oh, Monte, our chairman future, our own future, they all born children, all of them, and give it to him again so he can serve when he finish now, then before he will leave it for the rest of the people to start coming on now to lead the country. While most people will die in pain, most people will die from starvation, because we don't think he has the capability. We don't think he has the energy and the technical know-how, because when you are a certain age, you become a child. After you become a grown-up, you come to a child stage. So how will he be thinking in that kind of age to carry Liberia forward? This is detrimental to our country. It's detrimental to our people, and this is sad. But I will bring Vera on, because you are not you answering my question, but you're not answering my question in another sense. So I will bring Vera on, and then Vera will tell me why is it the post said that you have to retire the labor law of Liberia. We have to print out law and put it in frame. They say the labor law of Liberia say you have to retire at the age of 65. Joseph Boakai been in the government for 40 years. He ran the election for 20 years, and he still have not retired after his government served the 12 years and he left. He is still sitting there saying the people must get a children future to him. They should also get their own self future to him, and then he should read the country because that's his right, and he will do what he has to do. I want you to come in, bro. How is that possible? Why Liberian people are allowing this to happen to this country? Why are they doing it?
Because Liberian people ain't respect nothing. Liberian people don't respect it. They don't even respect themselves. They don't respect nothing. They abide by no rule. They respect nobody. They respect nothing, and that
Bro, go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, and that's the case, Grace. We don't follow. We are a lawless country. We got laws on the books, but we don't follow it. We don't abide by it. We don't respect the laws. We don't respect ourselves. We see no value in ourselves. We always want hand me down. We said this thing the other day. We always look up to other people to redeem us. When we're fighting civil war, we say, oh, why America ain't can't help us to stop the war. When we put in bad leaders, we say, oh, America can't help us to take the bad leaders out. When you bring good leaders, they say, oh, he been in America too long. So I don't understand. You want America to help you with everything to settle yourself. But then when good leaders come from America, they kind of Liberia, you say, no, they've been in America too long. I mean, Liberian people, they're just conflicted in their mind.
But at this point, you're talking about good leader coming to Liberia, but at this point, they have good leaders that been Liberia since 2012. Like that of Clarence Moneyba, he had been there already. So he's been there with them. That's a good
I
leader.
know, but what I'm saying is he been living there with them, but he came here and he acquired his education and he acquired experience and he acquired everything that is needed that he needs to transform Liberia and to transform this generation. He took all his education, he took everything that he could be in this country and decided to go Liberia to make Liberia better for his generation because he saw how the country was going. And still they're saying that they don't, they're making all the excuses at this point in time. Let me put it that way. Liberian people are making all the excuses. Even the very young people in Liberia, the people who are his age, they will call him crowd of boys. Even his own crowd of boys, they are saying all kinds of things. They are saying, oh, it is not his time. 2029 is his time. You see this same crowd of boys running towards an old 79 or 80 plus year old man and say that they prefer that 80 plus year old man than a crowd of boys like themselves who has come to America, who has acquired an a team and gone back to Liberia and laid the foundation and has helped the people there and has worked in the government and has secured loans and has secured development for Liberia. He has done a lot. These same crowd of boys are the very ones. Some of them you hear them insulting Dr. Maniba. They are denigrating him. They are calling him names. They are downgrading him, whereas some of them haven't even reached his status. So what do we do? It's like these people don't know themselves. They don't like themselves. They don't respect themselves. They always want to put their lives into the hands of somebody else. And that is exactly what is happening. Look, these people will put their future into Joseph Boakai hands. If Joseph Boakai does not die and Joseph Boakai live to be 100 years old, the youth of Liberia, a population of them, because enlightenment is going on and an awakening is taking place. So for a population, a sector of them, especially the ones in America who came to America and really didn't attain or acquire anything, they are going to run behind that puppy. They are going to be flip-flopping, jumping from one political leader to another political leader because they are just trying to make it. They are just hustling. They are just hustling. They don't even have a vision for themselves.
Let me just come in right there and thank you for laying it out like that. But at this point in time, Clarence Moneyback crowd of boarding, most of them has not accomplished up to his level. Some of them came to that country, trust me, they have accomplished educational wise, but education is not all to it. Some of them came, they got 2 masters, they're doing all of that, but they still is not living that real life when it comes to public sector and public service. They cannot do it. Some of them try, they are not able to accomplish that. Some of them, they never went to school. Most of them are very envious when they see people like them in the race. The first thing they think about, if it's not me, why should it be them? Why should it be him if it's not me? You will look at a high-ranking person in the government. a minister of state with a portfolio. For years, he's serving our government. He secured deals for the government that helped the country. And you talk down on that kind of person and you just an Uber driver in America for 30 years. I don't get people like that. So at this point in time, that bad jealousy, we call it that. And like British people don't know how to embrace their own, our especially our generation, the war destroy us, especially when it comes to hate and jealousy and enviousness, the war has destroyed us. When we see something good, the mere fact that we are not in that position, we are not willing to support. But I will let Veronica George come in. At this point in time, we are looking for a civil a society organization need to put in a debate. They need to put in a debate among the presidential candidate. This will be the fair thing for the Liberian people. Let the people hear all the presidential candidates and speak. Although Vero, your attention is very distracting on the platform, you're getting tired with it, that you interacting with Alex, that you interacting with somebody else is not fair to the audience. So I will tell you that. But I want you to come in. Do you think there should be a debate with these presidential candidates that they can come out here and for the fairness to the Liberian people and speak? What are they able to give to the Liberian people at this time? Because our country is ready at the brink of destruction, and we need to hear from each and every one of them. They need to sit on a pulpit and talk to the Liberian people. What are they there to offer? And let the journalists then ask them questions. And let the debate be among the presidential candidates. We want to hear from them at this point in time. How you feel about that?
Well, a debate will be one of the best thing that ever happened to Liberia, especially during these presidential elections going on. But are the candidates willing? I know if you talk about a candidate that the candidates are willing to go for a debate, I would say Mr. Cummings will want to go, and definitely Dr. Manaba will want to go. But let's talk about our current president, President George Weah. He doesn't come on social media. He doesn't come on. Only time you see the president talk, except he has to give State of the Nation address, I don't even know what he'd be saying, because it's like, take care of yourself and I take care of myself. You be your own security. That's all that the president says to us nowadays. And so a debate would be one of the best things, but are they willing?
Yeah, but the thing is that Liberian people now, they're supposed to open their eyes to see that if the civil society call for debate among the presidential candidates, and people are not showing up for these debates, these people need to be ex out of the election. Means that they are there, but when they go to the post, they're not voting for them because they are not speaking to the people to tell the people what they will do for Liberia, and they are not telling the people why the people should choose them as president of Liberia. Fira, what do you think?
I think so. I think if a debate is scheduled for them to come on, and a person does not show up, it should say to the Liberian people that that person is not in the interest of the Liberian people, and so when they go to the ballot box, they shouldn't vote for that person, because it means that you haven't told the Liberian people what you would do for them. You're being deceptive, and that how can George Weah. That's what George Weah did, and today the Liberian people are suffering under him because he refused to debate. And yeah, it's showing now during his administration. He doesn't talk to the Liberian people. He does nothing for them. He doesn't empathize with them. He does not sympathize with them. When people die, it just goes silent. He just cold and silent on it. He doesn't speak to the nation pain. He doesn't speak to anyone's pain. He does not care. He's only about himself, building his houses. I mean, like I told you the other day, I said, if there was a human, if there was a human example of pleasure, George Weah is pleasure in human flesh. This man is just a boatload of pleasure walking around. He only believes in pleasure and money and fun time and smoking and drinking and womanizing. That's his life. He does not care about the Liberian people. And
Yeah,
if the
but
Liberian
because he doesn't order anything, they did not get a debate from him. George Weah never
They're
told the
not
people what
getting.
he never told the people what he was going to do for Liberia. These people voted George Weah in because of sentiments, and because of love that they have for him for football. And that's the same mistake the people is about to make. The people are about to make again on Liberia presidential race in this 2023. They are about to make the same mistake because Mr. Bwaka has not really come out to speak to the Liberian people that he should. He's not engaging the communities. We don't see them anywhere. We don't see comments there anywhere. We just hear, oh, they are the more popular people in the race, and these other platforms that talk about them with no professionalism. They don't even ask the question. They will sit down on one topic all day, and then people stick to that thing for 3 hours, listening to the things that they say that doesn't have nothing really to do with it. Like bring people who didn't pick vice presidential people, who pick it, or they will be talking, I think, for almost 7 minutes. Who engaged the person or who is not engaging the person? Instead of them talk about the real issues that affect Liberia and how Liberia people should be able to look at who to vote for at this point in time. But because all of them got sides, and it's okay to have sides, but let's be real here. Just say the truth to the Liberian people, what's going on, and let the people make up their mind to choose who the right candidate that will fit the country, that will move the country forward.
But most of the people say who got sides, they be on every side. They really don't have a side. They be on every side. They tell a monkey, they jump from tree to tree. If they see a light shining here, they will jump there. If that light look like me lebe, they light shining on the other side, they will jump there. These people have no integrity. They stand for nothing. They have no kind of moral value. They have no moral conscience. These are all hustlers. And some of them say they got master's degree. Some of them got bachelor's. Some of them even got PhD. All they are doing, they have not put it to the education. Have for some reason it hasn't worked for them. It's not working for them. So the only source of hope now is to hop on anybody anywhere they see some kind of light shining, or anywhere they feel like there's a little loophole to get through and get yourself into position to get some money. They will go there because nothing is working for them. That's how they had a tree. Everybody was happy on that tree. Pong, pong, pong. They were blowing the whole riot, so you jump on the tree. Everybody was jumping on that tree. Some people who got credentials jump on that tree. Some people who didn't have credentials jump on that tree. Every time they can have is on that tree. And all of them on that tree. All being on every side.
Yeah, they own that tree.
That's the truth.
They own that tree because of greed, Pharaoh. I want you to come in on this one. They own that tree because of greed. At this point in time, it has shown that this whole thing with all these say quote unquote Liberian politicians, because of how they call themselves. Back in the day when people talk about politicians, you have to really go to school for that crap. But now, everybody are politicians. So all these so-called politicians, as Ross said, they have supported 2-3 different candidates. They're jumping from side to side because of money. And if they see the other candidate coming, when they won't put it, so they can put it in position. So all these things are for they're greediness for power and greed, because Jeremiah the other day were on that other network, the mentor, the message, they represented and made $8,000 a month. Some of these people in the country, they will never ever make $8,000 a month in the country. So right now, whatsoever they juice coming off on the boom, that they play, they're running. They are running there with their foot, their hand. Some of them crawling, they're running. Some of them, Martin Luther King said, I don't care how you get there, but get there. And they're really making that, using that statement, and they're running because they know that when they get in those positions, they're going to be making money, they're going to get kickbacks, they're going to be having a gas card. But luckily for all, we got one person in the race that the money, but he said all the things will be cut. All that gas card and this and that, and other things they want to put in they give the government employees. It will not be that way. It will be going back to the old way back in the day in Liberia, where the people used to actually work for the money and get paid the money that they work for. So I want you to come in on that if you want to say anything about that before we move on.
Well, the country is, as Vera put it in the right place, that the country is like a spider web. I call it a spider web. You know, the spider is in the middle, and if something drop on his net, he runs there and get his piece and get that piece and bring it to his family. If something drop to the north, west, east, and north, that's how the spider go. So somebody's just in the middle there, and everybody take their side. As we said, we're all on the same page. Everybody's on their own side. The gravy, where the gravy is where I would go. And when that gravy is now, the race, they're all quote unquote saying the race is between George Weah and what's his name, Joseph Yima Boka, right? Now you have people now that are between the two. They're leaning one side, and when they see that race is not to the swift, they're leaning to the next side because they want that gravy. They want to be on that tree. So who leads is who is the leading party? Watch the election. Whoever the leading party, it may be, let it be Dr. Moneba, let it be whoever, Cummings, let it be JMB, let it be what you name we are. Wherever the picks are for October election for the second runoff, just watch. We call it corruption again. This is how corrupt our Liberian people are. They only want to go where the gravy is. If it's not on the side, well, they'll leave you right there on that tree and move on to the next tree.
Thank you very, and that's the reason why we see that the people don't care for handicap of the country. It's all about them, Liberian people. We need you people to open your eyes. Don't sell your vote. Don't give your vote to the people like that, because most of them, they're going to come there. Your life is going to be worse. The things that are going to happen to Liberia is going to go down. I mean, it's going to be even worse than what we have now. Especially looking at the way the people carrying this thing that they play in our country, the chess. Y'all do not listen to them. Y'all go to vet the different candidates for yourself. Y'all listen to them and what they have to say, what they got to offer. Y'all do your research, whether they have the capability to offer those things that they're saying that they will offer, and that how y'all go in and y'all cast your vote for that person to save your and your children's lives. The reason why we're on the platform, we are talking because we care about Liberia. Women, most of the time, being set in the back. We don't talk much concerning these things, but this is getting very serious and crucial. That where we see this thing, most of the people are for the gods. It's greed. They don't care about you. If you don't open your eyes, you to care about you and your child and go and vote the right person in, you will blame yourself tomorrow. But yesterday, UP or VP pick Senator Jeremiah Kuhn of Nima County, he said that he insinuated that the ANC people were running behind him because they wanted him to run with Alexander Cummings as VP. That's why he insinuated. But then Louis Brown came and he did a press conference saying that they were trying to use Jeremiah Kuhn as a bait. They playing check again with our country. They were trying to use him as a bait because they knew that if they were going to go after him, JB were going to run after him as well. And they did not want to go after him anyway. They did not want him because he's answerable to Prince Johnson. He's a child to Prince Johnson. He said, yes, sir, Papa. So they did not want to go after him because they know that at the end of the day, it would be hard, even if he's VP, and they most likely, if they win the election, it would be hard for them to interact with the international community. So that's the whole argument they've been having on this social media for all day. I want you to come in at this point in time. Who cares if this man will run behind? Does that man have the right credentials to sit in our VP position just in case the party that he runs with win the election? What does he bring to the table with the interaction with the international community and even our neighbors? How will he present himself to sell Liberia to the people concerning what we need for them to be able to bring aid to our country, knowing that our country live on the AIDS, that what we live on until a president can come and fix the economy for us to depend on ourselves, and provide for ourselves. Right now, the country live on it. How will that man go out and present himself? I have checked everywhere in the name of Jesus on this internet. I don't see any credential with this man concerning what he, his educational background, and except for him working in the Senate, he was representative. I don't see anything substantial. I don't see any interaction he really had with even the neighbors like Nigeria, Ghana. I don't see anything like meetings that he going with leaders, in just small area of the government. I don't see none of that. Why these people think that this man is a red presidential pick, that two different parties were fighting for him to be VP? I don't know. So this is all about popularity content. Who win? I just want to get there so I can get my position. If you come in.
Oh, we sat down and listened to the man explain on Spoon TV yesterday. I think he was asked a question. In fact, all of the questions he was asked yesterday, he just evaded all the questions and started bringing in other mumbo jumbo that had no connection with the actual answers to the question. We sat there and we listened to him talk a lot of things. I think at one point in time he was talking about some numbers, and Alpha Tupa asking on him, and he said he was just throwing out numbers. And then they asking, I think Salamatu, I think she had asked him some question, a question about small business investment in the country, and he really couldn't explain it too well. He went into explaining about, take for example, LEC, and he explained part of mumbo jumbo about how the electricity will function. And as a matter of fact, the citizens, even the common citizens, can sell an LEC and all of that. They can become millionaires. That the kind of conversation that the way he went sell like to the international community. That just how you saw him explaining the thing on Spoon TV last night that nobody couldn't understand when they were asking him direct questions and he couldn't answer it. That how he will go sit down in case of emergency in the seat of the presidency and he has to go and represent Liberia. That how he will be explaining to the people when they ask him direct questions. Then he will start going around in circles and Liberia will get anywhere. He start talking about community current. They're asking you about businesses and investment in the country. You can even explain to us how a private Joseph, if Joseph Boyka and Human Boyka would be, how he would be able to attract and private investors into the country, those who have dealt with power, the power of a nation, how to run the power of a nation. There are private entities out there who do those things, who get those kind of contract, come into a nation and establish themselves there and take over the private sector of your electricity and try to stabilize the electricity and run it. He couldn't even explain anything. He started talking about community current. Oh, the person can have meter and they can sell this amount of kilowatts to the person. That community current like coming. So to say you might work out, the president he won't be. Every Liberian, that community current will come survive on. We got to go to our neighbors near to be buying current. They may couldn't explain anything really on Spoon TV yesterday. I mean, he was just, and people were there clapping for him.
Yeah,
They saw that serious thing he was explaining. I mean,
they say he was doing well, and that's the level of thinking that like people have. But we will soon be out of here. Diana Curtis said when Harriet Tubman said you have to go no matter how you get there was during the escape from slavery. Right now, Liberia is in a mess worse than slavery. They better do whatever they can to make sure that Dr. Clarence Moniba win to take Liberia from this turmoil. So I was just coming with a breaking news before you got close. I have a breaking news here. I heard today that they say something about Yombi Kanga Lawrence is now opening her own party after the Liberty Party had kicked her out. Like a stranger came and took away the party from them. One of my friends myself was talking. She said that the typical example of Pastor men they let to set the country for something. They set a land for smooth. Yeah, they say Pastor put a set a land for smooth. He said the stranger king kicked them out of the party, bought them with some money, and now they say Senator Lawrence is opening her own party. Today she already have the accreditation from the National Election Commission. So she received her accreditation today to open her own party and run as the standard bearer of her party. I don't know whether she'll be running this election or she will use the party now to gear up her political career until maybe the next election, but she's now opening her own party. You guys can come in and say your closing. You can add some of the stuff here, the last breaking news I check here. You can add it there close so we can get out of here. We're already like 33 minutes late past our time.
My only thing is, why did they have to take her this long to get her own party? Why did she have to waste? If she intended to get her own party, if getting her own party would have been a good thing, why did she have to go through that long track of going to court and getting to this point in time after people have treated her the way they treated her? I mean, basically disgrace them before you go and get a party. And I mean, it's in her right to get a party. I guess that's Liberia. Anything goes. We don't know how many more other parties we have, but if that's what she decided to do, good for her.
Yeah.
Well, Well,
So that's your closing, right? Very coming quick because we have to go now at
well,
1:34.
it's funny to hear that she's jumping into the race, and I know she's gonna get the support from Doris Dillion and all that. But I did hear
No,
I
I'm
did.
not saying she's jumping into the race. I just think she's gonna. I heard today from reliable sources that she's gonna open her own. She's gonna have her own party. She got a accreditation from the National Elections Commission today to establish her own party. Yeah, she's going to establish her own party. So I don't know whether she's going to run in this election. I think the time for her to put in her presidential, for her to announce herself. I don't know whether it's over because I just saw another woman announce herself, one Benu Kamara and announce herself, Benu Kroma. So she running to as president. So I don't know if Yombi gets her own party established, whether she will be running as president, but they say she establishing her own party. She already been approved to do that.
Oh, okay. But anyway, just before we close, Jeremiah Kuhn, I think I heard from Prophet Key today. I was kind of listening to him, and he said Jeremiah Kuhn is in the learning process. He's right now. If Joseph Barker takes the presidency, we know that Prince Johnson will be actually running the country. It's obvious to say that. So it's no surprise in the game at this point in time that Jeremiah Kuhn is the running mate to Joseph. But let's see how it plays. That's why we're here. We're women. We're here to talk about the issues. We're gonna bring them out. We have a lot of burning issues, but it takes time for us to talk about it. And the show was great. We very encouraging, very uh, nice. We did have a very good conversation. Well, I thank you, ladies, for the time that we took to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
Grace, Grace,
Mm.
can you while you closing, can you just say something about what Pharaoh said about Jeremiah Kuhn that she heard that he's in a learning process?
Yeah, I
So
wanted that one. I would do my closing.
okay.
My closing is that who are the people even saying that Jeremiah Kuhn is in the learning process? The VP position is not for a learner. The VP position is for somebody who already learned, has already experienced some level of government job and highly experienced in it. It's not for a learner. And that's the reason why we are seeing that these people are accepting to accept incompetency in our society. They see competence and they see incompetency. They choose that because they are part of that incompetency. So they are afraid of educated people and people with experience for the country. And that's the reason why we'll continue to sit here and say that the VP pick is not for a learner. We are not going to accept that. He's not going to come and learn in a country that is already going down the drain. Even if the country will hop out, there will be never in the world that any country will put a man like Jeremiah Kuhn as a VP pick to come and learn on the job. They must be going crazy. It's not going to
Grace,
happen.
Grace, just before you close, can you imagine Costa with everything that Henry Costa is, right? But he's a learned man. He
Yeah.
does not have the experience that is needed to be VP, but he is a learned man. People are willing to say that they will reject Costa because Costa does not know anything. He will be learning on the job, but they are willing to accept Jeremiah Kuhn to learn on the job. You see how the tribalism is? The
Yeah.
people,
Very
it's too much
tribalistic
trouble.
people.
Everything is tribal. You reject Henry Costa and say, no, he not prepared for the job. We're looking for somebody to learn on the job. Yet instead, you're willing to accept Jeremiah Kuhn to come learn on the job. Who told them like the jobs of the VP that were entry level or that learning on the job position? Who here for that?
And
Is that
that's
what Liberia deserves? Learning on the job? So Liberia is all about learning on the job now?
But that's the reason why
Okay.
they coup king the country and they kill all the learned people because they were
Yes.
afraid of competency. They were afraid because they decided not to educate themselves. So when they see competent people, they're afraid. So they want to put their incompetent people and then tell the competent people to come and teach them what to do
What
and for
to
them
do?
to lead
Yeah.
the country. Just
Yeah.
how I heard it recently that Jeremiah Kuhn contacted a guy in one of the countries that was sent to school by any justice study government. And he contacted the man. The man went back to Liberia to work with we are government. They did not accept the man because the men were too highly educated for them. But they didn't know that the man came back to serve because the government has sent him to school. The man left the country, went back to left Liberia, went back to the country that he went to learn, and he's teaching there now. But Jeremiah couldn't call the man, told the man, say, oh, my about to be vice president. Oh, you need to come to Liberia so you can help me. Oh, so the man should go to school and get his master's. Cum laude. And you never even stop in Namibia, but the man will come with a high education, with experience, and come work on you to help you for you to achieve. That's the minds of the tribalistic Liberians.
Yeah.
And we are not going to sit there and allow it to happen this time. They've been doing it for so long. Liberian people need to open the apple and choose the right presidential candidate for this time for Liberia. And for me, that person is Dr. Clarence K. Moniba. You have a good day or good evening. Everybody, bye-bye. I'm about to, let me just tell them to not set their foot in him and dear. You wait 1 minute. Let them to not set their foot.
They already started selling them at here.
Yeah, they shouldn't sell their foot. Now we come to tell them again, don't sell your food. Don't sell your food.
The children, so
Yeah.
what they will mix.
Mm-hmm.
The children
They
are buying
came
the
here and 9 year old and a car for the registration car is already sold.
That one we're talking about it.
How much? Divide that by 4 years. How much is that? No sell your vote. No matter the thing them they tell you. No matter how the thing they do you. No matter how much money them they give you. No sell your vote. No need to fight because your picking no go join you. They go they won't corner they laugh you. Oh, don't sell your photo. Yeah. Okay. If you look at the situation, everything harsh for this our nation. Poverty rising and inflation. Line still day for the fuel station. Things gotta change, my determination. This election, no intimidation. Protect us election, we gotta make sure everybody votes count for the future. For the future.
Shine your eye, well. Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't let them take your vote from you. Now your future be that. Yeah. Now your future be that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Together we can make Nigeria better. Oh, yeah. One vote.
Together we can make like
this election, no intimidation.
Do not sell your food, my people. You don't sell your food. You buy. Have a nice rest of your evening.